The Knights Templar, officially known as the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, was founded in 1119 CE in Jerusalem by French knight Hugues de Payens alongside 8 loyal companions. This momentous founding occurred in the aftermath of the First Crusade and the capture of Jerusalem in 1099 CE. The dangerous roads leading to the Holy Land posed severe threats to Christian pilgrims traveling to worship at sacred sites. King Baldwin II of Jerusalem recognized this need for protection and granted the fledgling order headquarters in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which the Crusaders mistakenly believed to be the site of the ancient Temple of Solomon. This location gave the order its distinctive name and connected them symbolically to the legendary wisdom of King Solomon. The organization received official papal recognition in 1129 CE at the Council of Troyes in France, a pivotal moment that legitimized their existence within the church hierarchy. Bernard of Clairvaux, one of the most influential religious figures of the era, drafted their Latin rule, establishing the strict guidelines that would govern their daily lives. This recognition transformed them from a small band of knights into an official arm of the Catholic Church, granting them unprecedented privileges and protection. The timing was perfect, as the Crusader states needed reliable military forces, and the Church sought to channel the violence of European knights toward holy purposes. The Knights Templar represented an unprecedented fusion of monastic spirituality and military prowess, combining religious devotion with warrior capabilities in a way never before seen in Christian Europe. Their fundamental vows mirrored those of traditional monks: chastity, poverty, and obedience. However, they added military dimensions including the defense of Christian pilgrims, protection of the Holy Land, and fighting to the death without retreat except under specific tactical circumstances. Bernard of Clairvaux established their remarkably strict rules that governed every aspect of daily existence. These included regular prayers 7 times daily like Benedictine monks, fasting on prescribed days, wearing simple white robes emblazoned with a distinctive red cross, and maintaining disciplined communal living arrangements. Despite the organization's eventual immense wealth, individual knights were required to live lives of severe personal austerity. They could not own property, were forbidden from unnecessary speech, and ate simple meals in silence while scripture was read aloud. Their daily routines involved dawn prayers, intensive military training focusing on combat arts and advanced horsemanship techniques, maintenance of weapons and armor, and evening prayers. Secret meetings were held regularly for senior leadership, which later fueled conspiracy theories about hidden rituals and occult practices. Knights were forbidden from hunting for sport, wearing pointed shoes, or having long hair. They slept in dormitories fully clothed and armed, ready for battle at any moment, embodying the perpetual vigilance required of warrior monks. The Knights Templar developed a rich symbolic vocabulary that has echoed through the centuries and influenced countless organizations. The Red Cross remains their most famous and recognizable symbol, worn prominently on white cloaks by knight brothers and on black or brown robes by sergeants and servants, creating an immediate visual hierarchy. The Bosant, their distinctive war banner displaying half white and half black, symbolized their dual nature: goodness and mercy toward Christians, but severity and ferocity against enemies of the faith. This banner was held in sacred reverence, and retreat was permitted only after it fell in battle. The emblem of 2 knights riding a single horse appeared on their seals, officially representing their vow of poverty and the equality among knight brothers, though the organization itself accumulated vast wealth. Their circular seals frequently bore images of the Dome of the Rock or other religious symbols connected to Solomon's temple. The skull and crossbones appeared in some Templar contexts, particularly related to mortality meditation, and was later adopted by various secret societies including modern Freemasonry and the infamous Skull and Bone Society at Yale University. White mantles were reserved exclusively for knight brothers of proven nobility, distinguishing them from sergeants and serving brothers. The lamb and flag symbol represented Christ's sacrifice and the order's mission. Geometric patterns in their architectural designs encoded esoteric mathematical knowledge including sacred geometry, proportions based on the golden ratio, and astronomical alignments that demonstrated sophisticated understanding of mathematics and cosmology far beyond typical medieval knowledge. The Knights Templar transformed from a small protective force into one of the most powerful military and financial institutions in medieval Europe and the Middle East. Militarily, they participated in virtually all major crusades and campaigns, becoming the elite strike force of crusader armies renowned for their discipline, courage, and refusal to retreat. They built and garrisoned formidable castles throughout the Levant and Europe, including fortifications at Crac des Chevaliers, though primarily associated with the Hospitallers, Chateau Pellerin, Tortosa, and Safed Castle in the Holy Land. Their military reputation was such that Muslim commanders feared them above all other crusader forces. Financially, they revolutionized medieval banking by developing an innovative system where pilgrims could deposit money at Templar establishments in Europe and withdraw equivalent amounts in the Holy Land using encrypted letters of credit, effectively creating the first international banking network. This system protected travelers from robbery and made long-distance commerce more feasible. They became the preferred lenders to European kings, nobles, and even the papacy itself, financing entire kingdoms and military campaigns. Politically, they secured exceptional privileges directly from the Pope, including exemption from all taxes, the right to maintain their own clergy and churches, reporting directly to the Pope without intermediary bishops, immunity from local laws in many territories, and the right to keep all spoils of war. At their operational peak, they owned thousands of properties across Europe, including farms, vineyards, churches, and fortified castles, operated a merchant fleet for transport and trade, and employed advanced agricultural and architectural techniques that increased productivity. The fall of Acre in 1291 CE marked the end of Crusader presence in the Holy Land and eliminated the Knights Templar's primary raison d'etre. With their original mission of protecting pilgrims and defending Christian territories suddenly obsolete, the order faced an existential crisis. Their headquarters relocated first to Cyprus, then to France, making them increasingly vulnerable to European political pressures. On Friday, October 13, 1307, the date that gave rise to the superstition surrounding a Friday the 13th, King Philip IV of France orchestrated a coordinated mass arrest of Knights Templar throughout his kingdom. The king was heavily indebted to the order and coveted their substantial wealth and properties. The charges brought against them were sensational and designed to shock medieval Christian society: heresy and denial of Christ, idol worship of a mysterious head called a Baphomet, a ritual spitting and trampling on the cross during secret ceremonies, homosexual practices and obscene kisses during initiations, and excessive secrecy in their rituals and meetings. Under brutal torture administered by the Inquisition, many knights confessed to these fabricated charges, though numerous individuals later recanted when torture ceased, stating they had confessed only to end their suffering. In 1312 CE, Pope Clement V, under intense pressure from King Philip and fearing for his own safety, officially dissolved the order at the Council of Vienne. The last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned at the stake on March 18, 1314, on an island in the Seine River in Paris. Legend records that from the flames, he cursed both Pope Clement V and King Philip IV, demanding they meet him before God's throne within 1 year. Both men died within months, adding a mythical dimension to the order's dramatic end. Historical evidence suggests that the destruction of the Knights Templar was not as complete as official records indicate. Before the fateful Friday, October 13, 1307, warnings and rumors had circulated throughout France. Some historians believe that groups of knights received advance notice and escaped with a fleet of approximately 18 ships from the French port of La Rochelle, carrying the organization's legendary treasures, sacred relics, and secret documents. In Scotland, which was engaged in war with England and did not recognize papal authority at the time, fleeing Templars allegedly found sanctuary. Legends claim they fought alongside King Robert the Bruce at the pivotal Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, where their military expertise contributed to Scottish victory. Rosslyn Chapel near Edinburgh, built in 1446, contains extensive carvings that believers interpret as Templar symbols, including mysterious carvings that some claim depict American corn decades before Columbus's voyage. In Portugal, King Dinis I officially refounded the order in 1319 under the new name of Order of Christ, e Ordem de Cristo, and they continued operating openly under royal protection. Prince Henry the Navigator, who financed Portugal's Age of Exploration, served as Grand Master of this order, and his ships bore the distinctive red Templar cross as they explored African coasts and eventually reached the Americas. In Germany and Poland, some knights merged with the Teutonic Knights, another military order. In Switzerland, persistent theories suggest Templars helped establish the Swiss banking system and influence the formation of the Swiss Confederation. The famous Swiss flag, a white cross on red background, is essentially an inverted Templar cross, and Switzerland's tradition of banking secrecy and neutrality may have Templar origins. During the centuries following their official dissolution, legends circulated throughout Europe about Knights Templar who continued secretly, preserving dangerous esoteric knowledge and maintaining hidden organizational structures. The guilds of stonemasons, Freemasons, in medieval and Renaissance Europe, which jealously protected the secrets of Gothic and classical architecture, became a natural environment for preserving a heretical ideas and secret knowledge that could not be openly discussed. These guilds were called a free because their specialized skills allowed them to travel freely between territories to work on cathedrals and major construction projects. Cathedral architecture itself encoded sophisticated geometric and mathematical knowledge including sacred geometry principles, the golden ratio, phi, astronomical alignments, and acoustic engineering. Some researchers claim that Templar architectural knowledge directly influenced the design of structures like Chartres Cathedral and others across Europe, with their distinctive Gothic elements and hidden proportions. The Renaissance period witnessed a revival of interest in esoteric knowledge, Hermeticism, alchemy, and ancient wisdom traditions, potentially preserving and transmitting Templar ideas through intellectual circles. Secret societies began forming more openly in the 16th and 17th centuries as religious persecution eased in some areas, and Enlightenment thinking challenged traditional authorities. Rosicrucian manifestos appeared in the early 1600s, claiming ancient wisdom and secret brotherhoods. These centuries represent a murky transitional period where the historical trail becomes difficult to follow definitively, yet symbolic and philosophical continuities suggest some form of transmission occurred, whether through direct organizational survival or cultural influence that preserved key ideas and symbols for later revival. On June 24, 1717, the feast day of Saint John the Baptist, a figure of great significance in Masonic tradition, representatives of 4 Masonic lodges gathered at the Goose and Gridiron Tavern in London St. Paul's Churchyard to establish the Grand Lodge of England, marking the official birth of organised modern Freemasonry as we know it today. This pivotal event transformed Masonry from operative, actual stonemasons practicing their craft, to a speculative, symbolic and philosophical organisation. The formation occurred during the Enlightenment period when rationalism, scientific inquiry, and questioning of religious and political authority were gaining momentum throughout Europe. Early Freemasonry emphasized reason, universal fraternity, moral improvement, and religious tolerance, attracting intellectuals, scientists, progressive thinkers, and members of the emerging middle class. The organization spread rapidly across Europe and to the American colonies, where it would play a significant role in revolutionary movements. The choice to formalize Masonic structure at this particular historical moment was not accidental. It occurred during a period of relative political stability in England following decades of religious and civil wars. The new organization claimed to preserve ancient wisdom dating back to Solomon's Temple, connecting themselves directly to the historical Knights Templar through symbolic and ritualistic means. Early Masonic constitutions explicitly referenced the Templars and incorporated their imagery, suggesting a deliberate attempt to claim spiritual or organizational descent from the medieval order, whether historically accurate or symbolically constructed. The symbolic connections between Knights Templar and modern Freemasonry are extensive and well documented, suggesting either direct organizational continuity or deliberate symbolic appropriation. The cross and crown appear prominently in higher Masonic degrees, directly borrowed from Templar imagery and representing the reward of faithful service. The 30th degree of the Scottish Rite, titled a Knight Cardosh, it bears an Aramaic name meaning a holy or a consecrated, with rituals explicitly referencing Templar revenge against their persecutors. Solomon's Temple serves as the absolute central focus of Masonic legends and rituals, just as it was the physical headquarters of the Knights Templar in Jerusalem. Both organizations employed elaborate secrecy and complex rituals, with remarkably similar hierarchical structures progressing through ranks of increasing knowledge and responsibility. The first 3 Masonic degrees symbolize progression from entered apprentice to fellow craft to master mason, mirroring the progression through Templar ranks from novice to full knight. The emphasis on brotherhood, unwavering loyalty, and mutual aid characterizes both traditions, creating tight-knit networks of influence. Both organizations used passwords, secret handshakes, and recognition signs to identify fellow members. Charitable work and mutual financial assistance formed core obligations in both traditions. The color symbolism of white and black, representing purity and severity, light and darkness, appears prominently in both Templar and Masonic symbolism. The architectural focus on building, both literal and metaphorical, connects operative stonemasonry with the Templars' extensive construction projects. Both traditions emphasize personal transformation through initiatic experiences, viewing spiritual development as a progressive journey requiring guidance from those who have traveled the path before. In France during the 18th century, a more elaborate system developed known as the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, comprising 33 degrees of initiation, each with its own symbolism, ritual, and philosophical teaching. The higher degrees from the 19th through 30th are explicitly called a Templar degrees and directly incorporate Knights Templar symbols, legends, and historical narratives. The 19th degree, Grand Pontiff, references high religious authority and the concept of bridge building, as a pontiff literally means a bridge maker in Latin. The 30th degree, Knight Cardosh of the Black and White, explicitly invokes themes of Templar vengeance against persecutors, with rituals dramatizing the order's destruction and the members' symbolic commitment to restore justice. The 31st degree, Inspector Inquisitor Commander, positions the initiate as guardian of the order's secrets and maintainer of discipline within the Masonic structure. The 32nd degree, Master of the Royal Secret, is considered the philosophical summit before the administrative 33rd degree, revealing deeper mysteries of Masonic teaching. The 33rd degree, Sovereign Grand Inspector General, represents the highest degree, conferred not through initiation but by invitation only to select individuals who have demonstrated exceptional service to Masonry. This degree is administrative rather than initiatic and represents leadership of the entire Scottish Rite system. Notable 33rd degree Masons include numerous U.S. presidents, Supreme Court justices, military leaders, and influential business figures throughout history. Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, published in 1871, remains the definitive guide to Scottish Rite philosophy, heavily drawing on Templar symbolism while incorporating esoteric traditions including Jewish Kabbalah, Hermetic philosophy, ancient Egyptian mysteries, and various other occult systems into a comprehensive Masonic worldview.